Today we're talking about Squarespace because it is a very common choice. Many people don't start with WordPress. They try to do their site on their own. They get people to make it for them, or they do it on their own. Anyway, Squarespace is another common used platform, and it does not mean that you can't do anything to improve it. There is plenty of things that you can do to get your site on better on Squarespace as well. Some of these are in common with other platforms, so they're just general rules. Some others instead, there are specific things that you can do on your Squarespace. Well, the first things that you have to consider is that search engines typically, they give a priority, they tend to give a priority to websites that provide a very good user experience. So, and Google does not take too much into consideration which kind of platform you did your site with, as long as it ticks the boxes. So if Google considers your site to be a very good choice for the users, it would be found very well, even if it's a Squarespace. Some of the things cannot be fixed on Squarespace. So this is one of the reasons why sometimes you might want to choose WordPress instead. But now we are focusing today on what the things you can do on your platform. So for example, you need to aim to have a website which is fast and loading quickly. You can work on your own on making sure that the images that you upload on the page are not huge, that you try to optimize them, to resize them, or to compress them. There's plenty of tools online that you can use for online compression of images. This is something that you can do on your site. Another thing that Google considers important on all of the sites is to have a secure connection. And this is one thing that you already have done, because Squarespace, all the sites on Squarespace, they offer the SSL certificate, the HTTPS. So this is one thing you don't have to worry about. This is one good point that's already been fixed. There are things that you have to do on your site specifically, and we will talk today very much about on-page optimization. So how you can optimize your site on-page SEO. Another thing that you can do with Squarespace and with any other kind of platform, to finish with this preliminary introduction about the things that are in common between Squarespace and any other platform from an SEO perspective, is the off-page optimization. So all the link building strategies that you can think of, all the ways you can try to sync and acquire more links to your site, because as I always say, links, backlinks to your site, they are like a token of authority to your site. So the more external sites, if they're good quality ones, so we're talking about good websites, not spammy ones, which provide a good user experience. They have people who like them and spend time on them. So websites which are real value ones and not spammy ones, just used for the sake of getting links. If you can get some links as part of your partnerships or cooperations with somebody, you do some guest blogging, you find opportunities to be featuring each other's, not just as a link, but as part of a nice editorial content, then this helps a lot. And it doesn't really matter if you're on a Squarespace or on a WordPress or any other kind of platform. do try and acquire as many high quality backlinks to your site as you can. This is the off-site part of the SEO that you can do. When we think of the on-site SEO, well, on WordPress there is a plugin which is an easy, quick live checklist. It's called Yoast. We've done training about Yoast. It's one of the most used things. So much that people sometimes tell me, I have my SEO done, I have Yoast. And well, it's not just that, but okay, because it is just one part of, and we will try and see how you need to think even of what you put on that tool, keyword. We will have to talk a little bit about keywords. We've been doing it so many times, but it's never enough. So we are now thinking on how you can optimize your pages, your posts, your site on Squarespace. Now, I'm not showing anything, but I'm telling you exactly where to go. So consider you have on your other tab of your browser your site open, and you're doing what I'm telling on your site. Tomorrow we will publish this as an article on my blog, and I will link it here so you can see the screenshots and where to go to see things. So even if you don't have an immediate quick checklist, there are some things that you can do on your pages. For example, you need to work. I forgot one thing which is very important, and it still belongs to the general things that you can do, no matter what platform it is. I keep recommending it, and I will never stop. Basically, it is to connect your site with the free tools that Google provides you. Google Search Console and Google Analytics. Google Analytics is for checking how it goes, for monitoring where your traffic comes from, how many users you have, and this you can use no matter which platform you're in. But the same happens for Google Search Console. So do connect your site and say you will at least be able to notice the biggest issues on your site. Like, for example, the page is not found, 404 errors, which might be caused by some broken links on your site. You changed some URLs, you didn't do some redirections. These are things that you should be doing. And by the way, you can do the redirections on Squarespace as well. If you don't know how, just let me know, and I will tell you. It's very easy. You just have to find how to do it. But it's important because I will now tell you how to change your slug, your URL slug, and why to do it. And when you do this, you might break your links. So make sure, I will remember to tell you at the end of this how to make redirections, because if you do not make a redirection, you will have a broken link, and this creates a 404 page not found error, which is an issue that you have to fix because it does affect your SEO generally. It's a signal of a bad quality, so Google doesn't really like to rank well sites which have this kind of issues. Even, for example, you will be notified, you will be able to see on your Search Console if you have issues like duplicated content, missing duplicated titles, bad titles like with the too long, too short, or well, not good for your users. So you can check this all from Google Search Console. It's free. You just have to connect your site. If you don't have it, just let me know. It takes a few seconds. I can do it for you. It's not a big issue. So finished with the things that you can do on any platform. Finished recommending for the billionth time to use Search Console Analytics. Now let's go into Squarespace specifically. So now you imagine you are logged in into your Squarespace backend. Now, from your backend, you can actually change your pages, your posts, your settings. As it happens in all of the sites, the titles of your pages, your posts, they are one of the places in which the crawler bots check what the page is about. So on Squarespace as well, you need to pay attention on what you put on your titles. There are two types of titles that you can find for every page in Squarespace, and it does sometimes create a little bit of confusion because there is a navigation title and another kind of title which is called well, navigation title and a page title for all of the pages, and we will now see what they are. But before thinking of all of the pages, there is one main title, which is the site title. So if you are logged into your site, in your home, in your backend, now if you click on marketing, and after marketing, you select SEO, inside of this SEO window, you can select your site title, then your site meta description, and you can see how the snippets will show your homepage. So this is how your site, how and for which keywords your site will be found for. It is important for you to write something here that is useful for search engines, so it contains possibly the main keyword of what your site is about. But also for your readers, because they will see this in search results when they find your homepage, when they find your site. So you want to make a very nice title and description. Don't make it too long, because often the site title is something that we use in the pages titles as a part of the page structure. So generally it is page title and then it is site title. So they stay together, and if it's too long, it would not be able to be displayed entirely. So just try and synthesize the name and possibly what you do. Very, very synthetic. This nice meta description can be up to, well, I suggest around 150, 160 characters, because if it's too long, it doesn't get displayed. Also here, tell people what the page is about, what the site is about. Give them a nice reason to want to click on it. When they see the meta description on Google, they might be interested in saying, wow, I want to click on it. So do create something which is interesting. Well, once you've done this, you have specified what your site is about. Now it's time to start checking one by one all of the pages and all of the posts of your site. If you are a good writer and if you do create a lot of content, which I would hug you for, because it's so much better when we work with a lot of content on sites, if it's good quality, because there's so many things that we can optimize and that you found better. Well, if you are a good writer, if you write a lot. The problem in this case is that you will have to optimize many pages. But this is a good problem to have, because the more pages you optimize, the more chances then you have to be found. So yes, it can be time consuming, but if you take just a little commitment of doing once every week, when you have a bit of time, it doesn't take too long once you have understand how to do it, and you will see results. I can tell you, really. So every page, let's imagine you start with a home page. What do you do? How do you optimize it? Every page has two titles. It has a navigation title and a page title, just to make things harder. No, the navigation title is what displays in the navigation menu. So the menu bar on top of your site, there are all the buttons. That's the navigation bar. And the name of the page, how it is on those buttons, buttons, that's navigation title. Then the page title, instead, it should be different because it should be synthetic and concise in your navigation menu, because you can't have buttons that are so long. But instead, the page title is what appears in the browser tabs and in the search engine results, so you can be more creative here. You can try and use your keywords. We were talking about the SEO, the navigation title and the page title. So how we can have them different. So it is a wise choice to have a navigation title which is different from your page title, because the navigation title, as we were saying, hi Nick, sorry about this, don't know what's happening today. So navigation title is what is on the top of your site. All of the buttons that you can click, they are your navigation bar, and you can have too long buttons, so you just have to be very synthetic. Instead, with the page title, you can be more creative. You can try and use your keywords in here. And so you can have different titles. And you can change your navigation title. When you're in your home, then you see on your left all the list of the pages, And you select the page that you want, and you will see a wheel gear shaped icon. At this point, you click on it, and you will see a page window which is opening, and it allows you to change the settings of that page. And there are many tabs on it. The first tab that you see, it allows you to change the navigation title, which you can actually leave as it is, because if your site has always been good for user experience, if people are used to find things easily on your site as it is, you don't actually have to change your navigation title. What you can do to improve your SEO is to work on your page title and on your URL slug. So the page title is one in which you can add what your keyword is about, and the URL slug is the part of your URL which comes after your domain. So if it is https www.domainname.extension/, after the slash there is a unique identificative part of the URL which does just identify what that specific page is about. And it cannot be changed. I mean, it cannot be double. There is just one which identifies one page. It is a unique correlation. So, and you can personalize it, customize it, so that that specific part of the URL possibly contains what the page is about, and possibly contains the keyword as well. So you can change it here. Just remember then to create a redirection, and I will then, if it doesn't get broken, I will tell you then how to do it. Below those fields, you can also add a page description. This page description is this part of meta description, which identifies specifically what this page is about. After you've used your keyword on your title, meta description, or SEO description, you can check them inside of the page window by clicking on the second tab, which is the SEO. And in the SEO, you can see how the SEO title is. You can see how the snippet appears in your search. And you can also see how the SEO description would look like. After you've done this, then you can try and make sure that you won't have any broken links. So what you have to do in this case is to go back into your home page, and On the left, there is this navigation menu with pages, design, marketing. At the end, there is settings. When you're on settings, you go at the end and you click on advanced. Don't get scared. It's not too difficult. URL mappings. This URL mappings is where you can create your redirections. So when you change a URL, try to remember which was the one you used before. So if you weren't using your keyword and you want to start using it, then just take note on any notepad of how the previous URL was, because then you will have to use it on this white box here, the URL mappings. Here you can tell if it is a temporary or a permanent redirection. It means that if it is a temporary redirection, it means that it will change again. It is just something that you're changing for a bit of time. Like, for example, you have an e-commerce, there is some kind of seasonal thing that you're not doing anymore, so you create a redirection just for a bit of time. And this tells Google that it's not so important, this change that you're doing, to keep giving the main priority to the main regular thing that you had. Instead, if you tell it as a 301 kind of redirection, then it's not a temporary, but it's a permanent redirection. So this means that Google should be considering as your main new page this one that is saying. So you will use your previous slug, then you will have here, if you see, Squarespace does show you the format that you should be using. So if it's the original URL, then it's an hyphen, it's a major sign. It becomes like an arrow-shaped sign. And then the new URL, the new slug, and then the redirection type 301. So, for example, if you're changing a page from SEO to SEO tips, then you will have number one, URL mapping number one, you will have slash SEO, slash this kind of arrow, then you will have slash SEO tips, which is your new URL, your new URL slug, slash, and then just next to it, a space, and then just next to it, 301. And that's it. And then if you have some more, because you're changing all of them, then on the following line, number 2, you will have the another pages thing. So another page, old slug, then this arrow, and then the new slug, and then 301, and so on. You can have as many as you want on the page, and you save them at the bottom. So once you've changed the title and the URL, then and the meta description, then what you have to do is to actually work on your page's content. So you have to change the content on your page so that your keywords are present here in the headers and in the content. Once you are on your page, if you mouse over the content, you will see an edit button. And this allows you to change the words on the page. When you are working with this, make sure that you're using your headings, not just for the formatting change, because I have met so many people, they tell me, well, you know what, I didn't know that the way headings had a different purpose and not just for a formatting change, because they use them to change the font color, the font, hello Regina, to change the font color, to change the font type, to make it a nice, bold, different kind of looking title, but that's not what it's meant to be, because a heading is meant, subheading is meant to be like a subtitle. Like when you're reading a book and you're trying to decide if this book is interesting for you. Actually, we do the same when we are checking a web page. We don't ever read it entirely. We just scan it vertically, and if we find that the subheadings are interesting, then we stop a little bit more, but we are talking about fractions of seconds. So if we find out that the content on the page is interesting, then we might stop and read it entirely. So we have to pay attention to what we use on our headings, and we have to use them, because sometimes people don't use them or don't use them enough. So we have those bulk blocks of content which are boring and daunting, and people just don't want to read them. Instead, if you break evenly content with some nice subheadings, people will at first glance see what the page is about. It improves a lot the readability, which is a criterion that actually can make a difference to be found better or not. Because if a page is better to be read, it's easier to be read, it's even a better user experience, and Google does give a lot of importance to user experience. So make sure that you pay attention to what is in your subheadings, and use them to include your keywords. So for each of these pages of your site, you need to think, what do I want to be found for? What do I want my prospective user to find me for? What is their search intent? And then you actually craft your page around it. You identify the keyword that you want to assign to that page. Obviously, if you're doing it on your own, it can only be a qualitative decision. So you decide from your heart which things you think that can be focused on that page. If you want some numbers, then you need some tools, and SEO specialists can help you, because, for example, if you ask me, I can let you know. I can run my tools, I can let you know how much is the volume of search for that keyword, how many people every month on average on any country. So it can be USA, you can be UK, you can be any kind of country you're targeting. I can let you know how many people want to read, how many people every month search on average for that specific keyword, and it can be also a very good business decision, because if you understand the interest, the search interest, you can understand a lot of the direction to go in your business, because you might identify that some things are very well searched for. Well, then it's worth making an article about it. Well, then it's worth to show it better on my page, because so many people want to read it, want to find it, want to buy it. So keyword search is really one of the pillars of your business decisions when you're talking about finding your prospective audience online. Because if you know what your prospective audience wants, then actually you're giving them what they want. And this is something that a professional can help you with. If you're doing it on your own, you can go from your heart. You can think what my page is about. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it's still better than not targeting any keyword. So if you do this even with no numbers, you have much better chances to be found. And if you remember to actually use those keywords in all of these points, so the headers, titles, the URL, when you're working on your images, you can double click and modify also the alternate attribute of the image, which is something that originally was designed for visually impaired users who need some softwares to read the pages for them, and software can't read the images. It will read the alternate text script of the image. And we've noticed that it does help in your ranking if you use your keywords in that part as well. So It's a number of places in which you can remember to use it, and it will make a difference. I hope it was clear enough. I will then now somehow try to merge these two videos together, and I will publish them on my YouTube channel as well. And tomorrow I will make the article out of this. Please do not hesitate to ask me for any questions if any part of this was not clear. Don't be afraid to make changes. It is just by thank you, Nick. It is just by trying to optimize it that you can be better than your competitors, and that is what can make the difference, because SEO in the end is a matter of trying to outrank somebody. So the more changes you do, the more attention you pay to your site, the more you will be rewarded, and you will see results by working on it. Let me know if you have any questions. Hey, hello. Hi, Arti. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you so much for following. Bye. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.